Hey YouTube, this is my video on basic arithmetic, doing it in your head mentally. Let's go ahead and get started. Take a look at our first problem here. We have 327 plus 412. Now in mental arithmetic there's essentially two types of problems. There's problems where you do have to carry, problems where you don't have to carry. These first three problems are problems where you do not have to carry. And that makes them very simple. All you do for this when you're doing math mentally is instead of starting at the right hand side of the problem like you would when you were learning school, you start on the left hand side of the problem. And the reason why you start on the left hand side of the problem is you get a bigger chunk of the answer first. Like if you need to know how far you were going if you traveled 327 miles yesterday and then 412 miles today, you're closer to having the answer if you add up on the on the left hand side first. So the right hand side first, you know it was 700 something miles rather than 9 miles and something. So that's one reason. Another reason is there's no hard and fast rule saying that you can't carry after you've written a number down or after you have the number in your head. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Don't get caught up on that. But let's go ahead and tackle this first problem. Like I said, we start on the left, so we take the 3 and we add it to the 4, and that gives us 7. So we go ahead and jot that down. And then we take the 2 and the 1 in the next column, and we add those together, and that gives us 3. And then we take the 7 and the 2 and we add that together and it gives us 9. Now in a problem like this where you can see that there's no carrying, and how you can tell that there's no carrying is you just glance up and down among the number pairs, and if you see any numbers that when added together go above 10, then you're going to need to carry. But if you don't see that, you can actually almost start saying the answer immediately. I'm going to do one more example, kind of slow, but I am going to speed it up just a little bit, and you'll see how this works. We take the 5 and the 6 for this problem, and we already looked along this problem, and we can see that there's no place that we are going to have to carry, because none of these number combinations add up to above 10, with the exception of this one here, but there's nothing to the left of it to carry to. So 5 plus 6 equals 11, so we can jot that down. And then 2 plus 7 equals 9, so we can jot that down as well. And then 4 plus 2 equals 6. So there we have our answer. We have 1,196. And this last example, I'm pretty sure you've caught on to how I'm doing this now. This last example, I'm going to go through rather quickly so you can see how it works. We look. There's nowhere where we have to carry, so we can actually just start saying the answer. We know the answer is 4,668, and I did just do that in my head. I don't have any notes here or anything like that other than what you see on the screen. That is how simple it is to do basic arithmetic, not arithmetic, but basic addition in your head if you don't have to carry. Now let's move down to another series of problems that I have here. I just have 2 here right now, and I'll make up some examples if I think we need some more in a second. In this one, we can look at it, and just a quick glance here. 4 plus 3 don't have to carry. 9 plus 6, we are going to have to carry. Well, here's what happens if we have to carry. When we look at the problem, we look at this one on this column right here, the 4 plus 3. We see that adds to 7, but before we say or write down the 7, we glance one to the right over here, and we just look at it, and just with a quick glance we can see that it is going to add up to more than 10. Or 10 or more, I'm sorry. I should say 10 or more. Now if we do that quick glance, whatever we're adding up here in the first column, we simply add 1 to it, and that is going to be our carry. When you're doing addition problems like this where there's just 2 problems, the carry is never going to be greater than 1, and I can show that to you over here. The highest numbers we can ever have in a column are going to be 9 plus 9, 9 plus 9 equals 18, and this would be our carry digit right there. It will never be greater than 1. So all you have to do is mentally add 1 to your problem. So 4 plus 3 is 7. We glance and we see that it adds up to 10 or more. So 7 plus 1, let me write the 7 there. We glance and we see that equals 7. We glance over here and we see that adds up to 10 or greater. So we just mentally add 1 to 7 to get 8, and that's the next one. Excuse me. And then on this one, we have 9 plus 6, which we know is 15. But we do not write 15 down here because we already carried. We already added 1 to this problem. So instead, we just ignore the tens digit and we simply write down 5. And then on this last one here, there's no carry. It doesn't go above 10. So we can just write down 5 for that as well. And our answer is 855. I'm going to go through another one slowly, and I think I need to make some practice problems just to demonstrate to you guys how this works. But in this case, I wrote a problem where if you look here, every single one has a carry. Every single one of these goes above 10. So we can see how this works. We start at the left-hand column, and we add 5 plus 9 together, which gives us 14. But we glance to the right, and we see that we are going to have to carry, so we add 1 to 14, and that gives us 15. So we simply jot that down. And then 7 plus 3 is 13, but we can get rid. 7 plus 3 is 13, but we already carried, so we can get rid of that 1 that's there, so we just think 3. And then we glance 1 to the right, and we see that that adds up to more than 10, so we add 1 to. So because of that, we add 1 to our result. So 3 plus 1 is 4, so we go ahead and jot that down there. And then on this one, we already performed the carry. So 3 plus 8 is 11, and we already performed the carry, so we get rid of that, and we just have 1. So the answer is 1,541 for that problem. Let me go ahead and make up 1 or 2 more practice problems just so we can get the swing of this. Let's say 356 plus 674, let's say. That's going to be one problem, and I'll just run us through this one real quick. We take the 3, add it to the 6, starting on the left-hand side like we've been doing. That gives us 9. But we glance 1 over. Let me put the 9 up here. The information that I'm putting on the top, just so you know, that's just information you're holding in your head. And you're not holding it in your head permanently. You just think of it for a second and then it's gone. You glance 1 over to the right, and you see that adds up to more than 10. So you add 1 to the 9. So 10 is the first part of your answer. Now, you'll have to excuse me, YouTube. I have a cold right now, and I'm trying to do videos. Very foolish of me. Now we look at this column, and we add 5 and 7 together, and that gives us 12. But we already did the carry, so we can stop thinking about that. So we just have 2 here. But we glance 1 to the right, and that gives us a number that is greater than 10. 10 or greater. So we increase the 2 by 1. That is going to give us 3. So we put that down there. And then we add these together. That gives us 2. That gives us 10. But we already carried, so we can not think about the 1's digit. And we just set it down there. See, after doing the carry, when I add the numbers together, I don't even think 12. I just think 2. It's just 12. It's just 12 minus 10. We're doing this case right here. This 12 minus 10 is 2, and that is going to be the number for this place here. And then after glancing over, I simply increment it by 1, increase it by 1, and that gives us 3. Oops. I let you guys see my backdrop. Let's do one more, and then I'm going to call it quits on this. Let's say we had 707 to let's say 5. We'll mix it up a little bit, and 8 and 7 here. 728 plus 657. Let me grab another color for me to work with. I'm going to try yellow, just to be fun. We simply start on the left-hand side. So 7 plus 6 is 13. We glance 1 over. We see that we do not have a carry, so we simply write down 13. And then 2 plus 5 equals 7. We glance 1 over, and we see we will have a carry, so we put down the numbers in this column plus 1. So it's 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 5 is 8. And then we look on this column here, and we have 8 and 7 is going to give us 15. And instead of thinking minus 10, you can just think, you know, eradicate the ones digit there. Since the carry has already been done, you don't actually have to think minus 10. But either way, what you're actually doing is minus 10. But that leaves you with just 5 there, and you put the 5 in. And I'm running out of space here, but I'm going to do one more real quick, and I'm running out of time for YouTube as well, so I've got to move with the quickness. Let's say we had 653 plus 700 and let's say 97. I'm going to go ahead and do this and try to do it at speed. I'm not going to do it full speed because I'm having to talk it out. But I add these two together, look one to the right, and I have 13 here, and I know I have to add 1 because I look to the right, so that's going to be 14. Now I go ahead and add these together, and that gives me 14 as well, but I look 1 to the right, so I know I have to increment by 1. And now I add these together, and I have 0, and that should be my answer, 1,450. Anyway, that's my presentation on your basic addition. The biggest thing I can say is practice, and I recommend practicing the same way I did. I just came up with random numbers and wrote them down. If you wanted to get fancy, you could have someone write you a program, or you could find a program out there to give you problems. I don't think that's needed. I think just coming up with random problems works great for this. But I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope it helps you out with your arithmetic skills. I sincerely hope you guys have a great day. Please practice, 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 practice. It does make perfect, and you can do math in your head. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.